They say that the strength of a civilization isn't measured by its monuments, but by how it honors those who came before. In our busy world, we often forget that the hands that once held ours when we were small are the same ones that need our warmth as they grow older. Taking care of our elders isn't just a duty, it's a way of returning the love that built our own lives. In the quiet, mist covered mountains of ancient Japan, there is a secret that the wind still whispers through the pine trees. A secret about this very bond. It is a story about a son whose heart was so pure and whose devotion to his father was so deep that even nature itself decided to offer a miracle. Today we journey back to a time of honor and mystery to hear the legend of Taro's reward. This isn't just a story from a book, it is a tale that left a mark on the real world. A mark you can still see in the flowing waters of Japan today. Make sure to watch until the very end to know how this legend changed Japanese history forever. Long ago lived a young woodcutter named Taro. He shared a small, humble hut with his mother and father on a lonely, steep hillside. Taro was a son of great devotion. Every single morning, before the sun had even kissed the mountain peaks, he was already deep in the forest. All day long, the only sound to be heard was the rhythmic thud and the crack of his axe against the heavy timber. Though his muscles ached and his hands were calloused, Taro earned very little money. This weighed heavily on his soul. It wasn't that he wanted riches for himself, he simply wanted to provide a life of comfort for his elderly parents who had given him everything. One evening, as the family huddled together in a corner of their hut, the weather turned bitter. A fierce wind began to howl through the valley, whistling through the narrow cracks in their wooden walls. Everyone shivered as the damp cold settled into their bones. Suddenly, Taro's father, his voice trembling from the chill, looked up and whispered, "I wish I had but a single cup of sake. It would warm my old heart and bring life back to my tired bones." Hearing this made Taro sadder than he had ever been. Sake was a luxury they could never afford. That night, Taro couldn't sleep. He stared at the ceiling, wondering how a poor woodcutter could fulfill such a simple yet expensive wish for the father he loved so dearly. The next morning, Taro leaped out of bed even earlier than usual. He ran to the forest and worked with a feverish energy, chopping faster than he ever had before. As the sun rose high, his mouth became parched and his brow was soaked with sweat. Suddenly, he paused. He heard the low, musical roar of rushing water. Taro followed the sound, and hidden behind a massive rock, he found a breathtaking little waterfall. Thirsty, he knelt and cupped a bit of water in his hands, but as the liquid touched his lips, his eyes widened. It wasn't water, it was the most delicious warming sake. Taro joyfully filled his pitcher and hurried home to his shivering father. This is where the story takes a turn. That afternoon, a neighbor stopped by for a visit. Taro's father, feeling warm and generous, politely offered her a cup of the magic liquid. The lady drank it greedily, her eyes sparkling as the warmth hit her chest. Then Taro, being an honest soul, told her the whole story of how he found the magic waterfall behind the rocks. The neighbor thanked them and left in a hurry. By nightfall, she had moved from house to house, whispering the secret to every family in the village. By the next morning, there wasn't a single person in the valley who didn't know about Taro's magic spring. The next morning, Taro arrived at the spring only to find a long procession of villagers. They were carrying pitchers, jars, and buckets, anything they could find to hold the treasure. One villager knelt to drink. He drank again and again, then shouted angrily, "Water! Nothing but water!" The crowd grew furious, searching for Taro to punish him for tricking them. But Taro hid behind a rock, watching in silence. When the angry mob finally left, Taro stepped out and tasted the water once more. To him, it was still the same fine sake. The waterfall had a message: magic is a reward for the thoughtful, not a prize for the greedy. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to subscribe to English Tales and share with your friends. But wait, don't miss the end. When the Empress of Japan, Gensho, heard of Taro's heart, she rewarded him with 20 pieces of gold. She even named the city's most beautiful fountain after Taro to encourage all children to honor their parents. And remember, if you visit the Yoro Falls in Japan today, you are standing at the very spot of this legend. The Empress of Japan was so moved by Taro's devotion that she named an entire era of history from 717 AD to 724 AD Yoro, which means nourishing the elderly or caring for the aged. Taro's story teaches us that being thoughtful always brings the best rewards. To help you master the English in this story, I have listed all the important vocabulary words in the description below. Check them out to improve your word power. I am Savera Prabhat and I'll see you in our next timeless story.